Dana White's Contender Series 2023, week number 6. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. Really looking forward to talking about each of the matchups after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure to share the video as well. And also note I'll be live for the entire Dana White's Contender Series fight card Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss the fight companion, and let's get into the fights. Starting the card off, we have Matsumoto versus Kasey Tanner. So for this matchup here, I feel like Kasey Tanner has a really good chance to beat a guy who I'm just not overly impressed by. I'm not sold on his game yet in Matsumoto. Kasey Tanner is a guy that trains with the Fight Ready team. I take positive attributes just in that alone. He has some strong wrestling, and I would say goes with a pretty good kickboxing game, which he'll work nice pressure, rips pretty fast low kicks. He's a fairly athletic and quick guy, and in this matchup here, I really think he's going to find takedowns. Now, Matsumoto does have a pretty good kickboxing game, but he lacks a bit of head movement at times, which I feel like can get him caught by straights. With Tanner here also mixing in the takedowns, I think there are going to be strikes getting through that guard on the feet. I feel like he does well when he's pressuring forward on his opponents with a, Muay Thai style striking base. But when you get in there with Tanner, I think he's going to find himself in trouble. Now, at the end of the day, at 31 on the Contender Series for a first time, Tanner is definitely not what they are initially looking for. Matsumoto, the young prospect, I just think he's too green. I think you're going to see Tanner mix in takedowns, make it a mixed martial arts fight, and I'm going to say Tanner gets the win here. Now, if you look, he hasn't been overly active. A year, 6 months, 2 years, 5 months, then 2 years and 8 months. Opposite side, you have 5 months ago, you have 10 months ago, you have a year ago. A lot of activity for Matsumoto fighting over at LFA, and then recently at LFA for Kasey Tanner. Granted, not a super top tier opponent. I'm going to say that this matchup here is a competitive, hard-fought 3 rounds where Tanner pulls it off. We'll look at them both on the scales here, and I'll tell you this, both guys seem to have done what needs to be done to be prepared for a really hard fight. There is Tanner, there is Matsumoto. Then we got a face-off here. Both guys are fucking shredded for this fight, and they're bringing it. I'm expecting a high-action, high-paced 3-round fight with competitive moments for sure, but I'm going to say that through it, you're going to get a win for Tanner on the judges' scorecards. Now, as far as the betting side of things with this matchup here, let's get the odds on screen. Tanner is minus 118 the favorite, but note that he opened as a 2-1 underdog. Matsumoto minus 102. Tanner is a very popular people's pick dog. Obviously, Fight Ready team adds a lot of points to the confidence. I seen Matsumoto on his back getting taken down. I think Tanner is going to be able to find takedowns here in this fight. I'm going to call it to go to the cards, but if you are to bet it, and in general, with betting Dana White's Contender Series, proceed with caution, because these are prospect fights, unproven talent, whereas when you can watch UFC fighters that have fought consistently at the highest level, you can make your choices on bets with a lot of significant backing of high-level experience. Not so much here. So I'm going to pick Tanner. It's a close money line. You can even find it at slight plus money if you're looking for maybe a money line attack. I do think he wins a decision. Plus 185, but I wouldn't be on that decision tag here. I think the money line would be the A side. We probably also go over 2.5 rounds, but note that it's the Contender Series and contracts are on the line. Guys are going to bring their fucking best, and there's definitely a chance that you can see this fight ending inside of the distance. Tanner potentially getting a ground and pound TKO even, maybe even the back of Matsumoto. 13-0 record for him is very impressive on paper. Only 24. His opponent, Tanner, the older guy, 6-0. Listen, you got to be a little bit cautious with the inflated records. Matsumoto's got the look, everything going for him here, but I think Tanner's got the dog in him that can, lead him to victory. I'll go Tanner for a decision in our first fight of the night. Next fight on the card, ladies going after it. Julia Polastri versus Patricia Alujas. I'm going to be picking Polastri to win this fight. I feel like she's going to beat Alujas probably decision or sub. I think both are live methods of victory. With Polastri, you have a bit of like a Muay Thai-esque style of stand-up game that she brings to the table. She does work pretty solid straight punches, and she was cracking Jasmine Jasudavicius. Even though she lost that fight, that third round on the feet, she had a lot of successful striking moments. Granted, she was getting taken down a lot. Now, on the opposite side, Alujas, I see her mixing in the stand-up game here. I'd say she's a fairly decent boxer who does well with low kicks, closes the distance with a nice right hand at times, has a bit of pop on it. I like that she'll work a jab cross in this fight and rip some decent hook flurries. Man, I feel like these ladies, odds-wise, delusion. We'll pull up the odds after we look at them on the scales, so we'll bring up the scales now. I feel as though Polastri wins this fight. I think that the experience on Contender Series, fighting against Jasmine Jasudavicius is a positive accolade. There is Polastri on the scale. There is Alujas on the scale, and then there is a face-off. I see it's a competitive fight, man. And I think Alujas might be one of the prettiest girls to potentially come on the roster with a win here, man. I think, holy shit. She's got a nice look to her. Beautiful girl. I think that Polastri is going to be tough for her to beat. Looking at relative competition level for Alujas, right? You have a 4-3 fighter, you have a 4-3 fighter again, 4-2, right? And these are lower tier promotions. Then we're digging back 4 years, and it's a year and 8 months since her last fight. It was in 2021. It was December. On the side of Polastri, I got LFA wins. I got her beating a 6-0 girl by arm triangle. That's why I'm kind of feeling the sub here because of that submission win there. Now let's look at the odds for these two. Polastri's minus 465. She's such a wide favorite. She opened up at minus 450. Alujas plus 365 as the underdog here. Polastri by sub is plus 160. Decision is plus 115. Sub or decision is where it's at. Because it's Contender Series, let's go the side of a finish. Let's go Polastri by submission. But it wouldn't be shocking to see her get it done on the judges' scorecards. This is one of those matchups where the money line side of Polastri is where I feel best about, but the line sucks, minus 465. And I'm here to tell you who's going to win. And at the end of the day, if the betting odds don't align with it, it is what it is. We'll go Polastri over Alujas, who I just feel is unproven right now. Next fight on the card is our featured bout. It is AJ Cunningham versus Stephen Nguyen. I'm going to be picking Stephen Nguyen to finally get a UFC contract. Let's note something about Nguyen. He has fought on the Contender Series twice previously. This is his third Contender Series booking. He's 1-1. He lost his debut on Contender Series by brutal flying knee knockout against Alon Cruz in a pretty competitive kickboxing fight. And then to come back, he gets a clean win, which was a while ago, almost 2 years ago, over Theo Releang. I felt like Releang wasn't all that top tier. Now, I am picking Nguyen to win this matchup against AJ Cunningham. I do feel like he has a pretty nice technical kickboxing game with good explosiveness and athleticism. I like his straight punches and forward pressure, especially if he's going to be putting Cunningham on the back foot. I feel like he's going to find success. The jab cross is a nice combination that I see landing down the line here, potentially on Cunningham. Now, Cunningham in his own right is a fairly solid kickboxer too. I do feel like he holds his ground well, and, Nguyen probably going to look to put him on the back foot. I feel like we got a good scrap between these two. I think Nguyen's going to get the knockout. I feel like he's going to end up earning the contract here. I mean, he's been going for it, man, 4 years ago. Holy shit. Years back. He's been out for a while, I know. On the opposite side, the competition level has not been there, right? A split over a guy who was just 5-2 2 years ago, and then, obviously a loss 2.5 years ago to Javier Garcia, who had success touching up Cunningham a bit. I think that Nguyen is going to put the lights out of Cunningham. I'm going to win by knockout, man. He's been a favorite in every one of his Contender Series fights, and I think he finally gets the UFC call. He's going to win it by KO. There is Nguyen on the scale. He's got a very intense look in his eye. There is Cunningham, who looks in good shape. There's a face-off. Note that Nguyen's a little taller, which I think is a positive advantage to have in the striking. And I also think he's a more athletic, more explosive, and faster striker. And that's going to come in handy major in this fight here. So we're going to go Nguyen, and we're going to go knockout win. Now, as far as the odds, Nguyen is a minus 285 favorite, but it opened at minus 115. AJ Cunningham, a plus 245 underdog here. I'm feeling the knockout. Under 2.5, plus 124. I think violence comes. Nguyen by KO, plus 175. Ugly lines. Ugly lines, but I think Nguyen is going to be victorious, man. He should beat AJ Cunningham by a KO. I feel like Cunningham's going to get caught up on the feet. The straights could land. I could also see a counter shot hook. There's a lot of punches on the feet that I like for Nguyen, and his explosiveness, I think, shines here over Cunningham, who's maybe a bit flatter. So let's go Nguyen by a knockout and the UFC contract. I guess I haven't been predicting who's been getting contracts, so I guess I'll just do it at the end, the contract predictions, before we get to the parlay segment. Let's get into the co-main event. Eduardo Neves versus Jhonata versus Diniz versus Diniz. Jhonata Diniz. This name is tripping me up. You know, before I came on here, I was listening to how to say it. Jhonata Diniz. I think that's perfect. And I'm picking him to win, so I want to give my guy some respect here. I'm going Diniz for the W over Neves, rather. Now I got every name fucking fumbling all over the place. I'll tell you why. Because I'm a little concerned about this fight. It's a bit of a coin flip matchup, and I was sitting on it for a bit before recording the video because I feel like Neves having, the MMA experience, the LFA title is a positive factor, and I know nothing of what happens when Diniz is on his back against an experienced veteran of MMA. But I know one thing. Neves gets wild on the feet at times, and he's hittable down the line. And Diniz can crack with the best of them. He fought Rico Verhoeven in kickboxing. He went the distance. He's got a really nice 1-2 entering the pocket and has big power on that right hand. He also has a mean left hook. If this fight is striking, Neves will put himself into bad situations, and Diniz will have the counter-striking capabilities to get a KO. The biggest concern with Diniz is what happens when he gets a big boy, 263.5 pounds, on top of him. Does he completely gas? Does Neves get the TKO on the ground? Mick Parkin badly beat Neves in their fight on the ground, beating him up, and broke Neves there, which was, last season of Contender Series. I think Diniz can KO him on the feet, man. I feel like Neves broke in that last one, and I could see him breaking here. Now, as far as the reach, it's not listed for Diniz. It's about 76, 77 inches for him here. I got to go with the former Glory kickboxer, 15-6 in high-level kickboxing. The stand-up game is going to be solid. I think he's also in pretty good shape. Neves, I like his pressure attack. I like the southpaw/stance switches for him here, but he risks to land big with wide looping shots at times, and he comes in the pocket aggressively. With a guy as skilled in kickboxing as Diniz, his lights could get shut off. So I'm going Diniz via KO, and we'll look at them on the scales. Let's check these savages out. There is Diniz, big boy. There is Neves, also big boy. Then there's a face-off. Weird abs there for Diniz, even with some body fat. The dude's got a 2-pack up top. I'm going to say Diniz chins him. If it's striking, that's where he'll shine. Neves is so young at 23. At heavyweight, that might as well be 18. And I feel like in the stand-up, he's going to be a little reckless, looking to land hard on Diniz. And I guess I just don't know for sure how Neves' offensive wrestling is going to look because we don't know enough about Diniz's takedown defense. But we know he can fucking strike. And I think he can chin Neves, who's got dangerous striking, good takedown defense in his own right. Diniz is a minus 150 favorite. Neves plus 130 dog. Fight ending inside of the distance, minus 800. Under 2.5, minus 600. Under 1.5, minus 245. Probably goes under 1.5. I see this fight ending in the first round. I think that it's Diniz with a KO on the feet. If things went awry, though, and he ended up on his back and he's got no ground skills, I can see Neves pounding him out from full mount. So we'll go Diniz for the win, but cautionary tale with Contender Series as a whole on the betting side, specifically when you got an impressive striker that you don't know for sure he has grappling defense capabilities. We don't know for sure. We're going to find out. It's the Contender Series for a reason. Diniz for the W. I'm going KO. I'm going to trust the stand-up skills. I'm going to trust these KOs over some scrubs, over, a guy in Neves who has beaten some okay opposition. I know Thiago Silva's going to jump up at 6-0-1, but dude, he was so fat and out of shape for that fight. And he's just that build. Mick Parkin beat him up brutally. He's got nice wins. He's been in LFA a while. I know he's the champ there. I just don't believe the hype at this point. We'll see. I'm going to go Diniz by KO. I'm going to trust in the kickboxing. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. And if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Llontop versus Malik Lewis. I'm going to pick Malik Lewis to win. I think he can end up getting a W. He can do this thing. Yeah. I'll tell you this. I looked into Llontop's reach. Listed at about 70-inch reach, 69.5. It was in meters, and I converted it. It was like 69.6 or something like that. And Malik Lewis is going to have a 6-inch reach advantage in this fight. A solid athletic kickboxing game that he brings to the table. I feel like Llontop is a decent striker in his own right, but not like jumping out the page excited for his game. I'm not like, wow, this is the best striker I've ever seen. He's pretty quick. He fights out of southpaw, and I say he scraps pretty well and has a hard, straight left down the line. He's got some power in his hands, and I'd say he can grapple a bit as well with a gas tank on him and has some dog in him. Now, Malik Lewis took a hard loss to Trevor Peek last time out, I agree. Gassed himself out. He's got good recovery capabilities. He's a solid athlete. And I feel like here he can win a decision over Llontop. I don't think this is an easy matchup by any means for Malik Lewis. And surely Llontop's got the power that he could potentially put the lights out if Trevor Peek could end up doing it. But a different style matchup. And Lewis, I think, learned a lot from that last experience because he was beating up Trevor Peek, who's a pit bull on the feet. He tried to throw caution to the wind, get him out of there, and he gassed. A more calculated approach for Lewis, I think he wins this fight here. I feel like he can potentially control in the grappling positions. I feel like he's the physically stronger guy. And on the feet, I can see a quickness advantage with the punches for Lewis. Maybe a little bit better with the kicks on the side of Llontop. So we're going to go Lewis by decision in the main event of the evening. Now, as far as these guys on the scales, let's check them out. We have here Llontop. Looks pretty badass, ready to rock. Lewis looks in very good shape. Looks pretty crazy. Then there's the face-off. Malik Lewis, I think, has the skills and athleticism to beat this kid. That's why I got to ride with him. I know Llontop's a pit bull, man. He's a dog. He's got that dog in him. And Lewis, last time against Pete, kind of broke. But if he doesn't throw caution to the wind, he doesn't let the gas tank run out after the first, I feel like he can outwork Llontop for 3 rounds. I think Lewis can do this. I feel like he can get a hold of him. I feel like he can take him down. Make it an MMA fight. Don't just look for the KO. I'm going to pick Lewis to win it. Judges' scorecards. Decision win. And I feel like minus 170 for Llontop as a favorite to plus 145 Lewis. I love the plus money tag. I'm happy that I got a dog here. Is it, lock of the century dog? No, it's the Contender Series. But I'm picking Malik Lewis, and I do think he's a very live underdog in this fight. I feel like we're probably going over, which is minus 165. Lewis to win by decision is plus 600. Wow. I do think he ends up winning a decision. I can see this being a back-and-forth scrap, still going long with both guys wanting it bad, and just Lewis showing up in better shape than last time and also not putting the pedal to the metal and gassing himself out. I think he can beat the young Llontop here. I'm going with Lewis. I think he can win this fight. 13-2 record is nice for Llontop, and like you look at the guys he's beaten records, they're solid, but it's not like, his opponent has only fought salamis. I mean, 2 years ago, 1-8. That's pretty salami-like. Trevor Peek lost. I think he learned a lot from. And he was stunned in his last fight, but he got up quick. His recovery abilities are solid here. I'm going to say Lewis on the judges' scorecards over Llontop. Now, as far as who's getting signed to the UFC, I think Kasey Tanner gets signed with a gutsy performance in this fight here. I'm going to say Polastri gets signed because it's her second shot. I'm going to say Nguyen definitely gets signed because he gets a sick KO. Diniz with a knockout is definitely getting signed. And Dana's going to be in a great mood. And I think he also signs Malik Lewis. We might be looking at a 5 sweep of signings here for Dana White's Contender Series this week. Damn tricky card. And we're going to jump to the parlays. And I'm kind of nervous for these parlays, man. I think I'm going to ride with Kasey Tanner in the parlay slate. Oh, Tanner Polastri plus 168. I think that's a potential option. Do we go Tanner and Nguyen plus 197? Tanner and Diniz plus 249. If we take out Tanner, we go Diniz, Polastri, plus 108. Dangerous parlays this week, guys. I'm telling you. I know it's danger zone this week. Minus 130 for Nguyen, Polastri, which could end up crashing and burning, but I do think they both win. Just odds kind of suck for it. What a fucking card, guys. What a card. I expect crazy fights. I expect potentially crazy results. Last week was absolutely insane, and I feel like this week, though, will be superior to last week, man. As far as the entertainment value, as far as the fights, you know Contender Series brings the heat. So my recommendation is if you're parlaying it up, you can go two routes. You can go the route of fake safety and think that you're safe here when really it's high risk as fuck. It's Contender Series. Or you can try to be a pit bull and you go Tanner and you ride him with Diniz plus 202. That's a potential option. Tanner Nguyen, Diniz plus 322. Looking for big plus, you go Hail Mary it, Malik Lewis, Tanner, and Nguyen plus 490. Welcome to the Contender Series, bro. This right here is playing Russian roulette with the fight game, and that's why I love it. I'm super excited for this card. Make sure you guys tune into the Fight Companion. I hope you guys enjoyed the breakdown. Much love, my people. Smash the likes if you guys haven't, and if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Definitely let me know what you think of the picks in the comments below. Throw some confident picks at me. What is your guys' lock of this card, if you have one? Because I don't think it's possible to really pick a lock of this card without just, going out on a whim and saying one. Because in actuality, I feel like these are some fucking dog fights, which is why the Contender Series is so special. And honestly, I enjoy the challenge of breaking them down because I know it's the Wild West of MMA. You know what I'm saying? It's the wildest shit in the game. Thank you guys for tuning in. Much love, my people. Keep your post notifications turned on. Put them on all so you don't miss a video. Got tons of content on the channel. I appreciate everybody watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace, everybody.